Remember, this entire manga and every manga on this channel is hand-drawn by myself, and now you too can learn exactly how to make your own viral Dragon Ball mangas at www.makemanga.com, where you can learn directly from me. My mangas have got me on TV, on newspapers, and even earned me over $60,000 a month on Patreon alone. And now, you can click the link in the description and pinned comment of this video and do it yourself. You only need to see the website to see just how many thousands of you are taking this opportunity right now. And don't forget also, the next video to this Ultra Vegito series has already been made and is live now on my Patreon right now for over 4,500 of you incredible fans to watch after this. Again, links are in the pinned comment and description. Enjoy. So our story continues with Goku and Vegeta having placed their hands on Vegito's shoulder in support, having realized the time has finally come for them to reunite, with the God Killer looking to Goku and saying, "Refuse? But if I fail, if we fail, there will be no one left. You understand that, right? You two could escape right now and fight another day." But Goku, hearing this, would then adamantly reply, "Escape and fight another day? You really think Vegeta and I would do that? This battle is ours, as much as it is yours, Vegito. That anger you have inside, that rage to get justice for our loved ones, it's the same in us. Don't forget where you came from. Together, we can do this. We can do this without Lucif." Before, with passion in his voice, Goku would urge the God Killer to finally realize, "Don't underestimate how strong we'd be once we're together again. Think of all the training we've done, the years battling within you, the years in the Pyramid of Power, and how far we've come even here in this final battle. The power I've gained from fighting GT, the things I've learned. I know we can do this. Dai isn't unstoppable, whether he uses Lucif's power or not. Nothing can stop us. I won't allow it. And neither will I." As the prince, agreeing on the other side, would sport a smirk as he would explain, "I finally understood from the priest what this was all about. Why you separated us. Why you wouldn't let us refuse. You just wanted to have all the fun of murdering this midget all to yourself. Well, think again. Newsflash. But if you can't beat him, then whether we come back another day or not, we will never win. I understand, letting us free to take out the guards and the other Kakarot. But now it's over. There is no more excuse. This is all of our fights, clown. And that demon Lucif is not your path to victory. We are!" As suddenly, Vegeta would power up, revealing an all-new form for him, but one we saw from a certain Destroyer Goku not too long ago. With his Ultra Ego hair, he would now possess a pair of destruction-infused purple seraphim eyes, almost as if ripped straight out of the skull of the Goku from the past. As he would add, "Listen, that brat may have stolen all the demonic energy I had within me. But don't think I didn't learn a thing or two from my experiences too. Always remember, Vegito, these gods can take everything away from us, but there's one thing a Saiyan always keeps: his pride! As behind Vegeta too, a varied display of all he has been through so far is reminisced as well. You're kidding! When did you learn that? The destroyer Seraphim, however, would just leave the Godkiller surprised, with him previously thinking the prince was out for the count. But with Vegeta just smirking back at him, the prince would respond, When? Why does that even matter? You do realize I'm the battle genius here, right? I can learn on the fly, not just when I'm about to die like that clown Kakarot. You too. And with a smirk on his face, it would seem the Godkiller would finally concede, saying, I guess I've been doubting you two a little too much. I should remember how I came to be in the first place. I started this whole journey with you two, and I guess this battle will be won or lost with you two as well. And for a moment, there would be a deafening silence over the battlefield, as all three Saiyans, Vegito included, would look above, face to face with their final obstacle. The final all-powerful fighting god left in the multiverse, the Grand Priest. Before finally, with a cold face, Vegito would look straight forward into the priest's eyes and let out, Fine! There's no going back! We'll do this as one! I hope you're ready, Die! But the transformed, corrupted angel in the sky, with his flowing, glorious hair, would seem utterly unfazed, but with a hint of intrigue, as he would say, Oh, I'm ready, Godkiller. This is the battle I truly desired this whole time anyway. A battle with the true mortal form of the one they call Vegito. Allow me to witness the power of the warrior race known as the Saiyans, and not the power of Lucifer. Before, with his face becoming more serious, he would add sternly, Because if you do tap into that forbidden energy again, I will be there to take it. I will repeat, the power of the fallen angel Lucifer, my elder brother, will ultimately return to me. In the interest of keeping this battle somewhat competitive, do not do it. We won't need it, but thanks for your concern. But Goku, hearing this, would just smile, confident in their own power, as he would look to the Godkiller and say, Don't worry, Vegito. Whatever happens, we'll find a way to win this, Lucifer or not. While Vegeta, smiling, readying himself, will also look to Vegito and say, The priest just about survived after taking my energy, and he's talking like this. He doesn't stand a chance against all three of us together, and neither does this so-called Lucifer. Let's do this! And just like that, with all their final conversations as a trio now over, Seraphim Goku Destroyer Vegeta, and Ultra Vegito would all power up to their limits. Their keys, so powerful and all-encompassing, they would begin mixing with each other. Their voices combining also as their auras become singular and shoot into the heavens themselves. So this is mortal fusion. Leaving Dai with a curious look as he would fold his arms and comment with interest. Their energies are going up individually, but nothing seems to be combining. What foolishness are these Saiyans doing now? But soon enough, sight of Goku, Vegito, and Vegeta would be lost, as the energies would converge to create a gigantic ball in the sky, reminiscent of a spirit bomb, spewing large, powerful bolts of thunder and lightning all over the battlefield, as the priest would just stare at it head on. Oh, so now it begins. Whoa! What is this? As now, both being lost in the pure light, the illustrious luminescence of the three Saiyans' power, both the Grand Priest and the Omni King would be sat watching the blinding lights with an air of awe. Eventually, the light would become too powerful for even the Father of all angels, as protecting himself from the rays, he would be forced to close his eyes momentarily, eventually opening them slowly, squinted as the light would fade, with the fusion seemingly coming to an end before... What? Suddenly, there would be no option for the priest but to burst open his eyes, as a wave of shock and confusion would run all through his body, concerning what he was even looking at. As with his whole body in view now, stunned into place, he would just mutter, "You! What have you just done? This is your new form? Your fusion?" As slowly, we would then get a better look, starting with a look at Vegito from behind his head, his bulky, well-formed torso, his white-gloved hand, his blue, perfectly fitted gi, his Saiyan boots, and then finally, his closed eyes face. Something curious would be observed over this final transformation of Vegito. A familiarity that would be utterly unexpected. Yasha! As suddenly, the final form of Vegito would be revealed, coming full circle back to his true self. His hair inexplicably black as if in base, but his eyes now not only displaying seraphim, but green in color, as bolts of never before seen green energy surrounds him in all directions, with no darkness visible anywhere. It seems Ultra Vegito has gained an all-new level of strength and control, beating back anything and everything to do with Lucid, to now possess a far greater power as a mortal, and most importantly, as a Saiyan. Now this feels familiar. As Vegito, gripping his perfectly clean fist tightly in front of his face, would then reflect on his new power with a smirk. It's been a while since I felt this whole, this power. Maybe those two were right after all. I've never felt a greater boost in energy, Lucif included. I guess we'll just have to see. Hey boys! Wow! Vegito! While Zeno, now finally having his wish from way back at the very start of the battle, would now see the green final form of Vegito that he had been waiting for so impatiently, as he would let out with an air of almost respect now. You weren't lying to me. Your eyes, that energy, it's green. You look cooler than Die now. I wonder who will win. Thank you for not disappointing me. This is the most fun I've had in a long time. No problem. I'm disappointed you would even doubt me, Zen-chan. But Vegito, talking back to the gods, would now appear extremely cool, calm and collected. A quiet confidence exuding from his relaxed face as he would continue. If there's one thing I am, it's a Saiyan of my word. And I've been saying for a long time that I would put an end to you two. So savor this green you've waited for, while you still can. But Die, despite the new appearance and cockiness, would look wholly unimpressed, as with his eyes almost squinted, he would comment, "What exactly is there to savor here? All those dramatic transformations from earlier, all this big talk of your power once fused, and once done, you look like any ordinary dark-haired Saiyan from your universe. Are you sure you're any stronger God Killer? Because right now, it seems you aren't taking this serious enough." But Vegito, who would just continue to smile, cracking his neck to the side as he would explain, "Don't worry about my appearance. Consider all those previous transformations just for show. Obsolete in the face of how I naturally look. In fact, you could call this my mastered form. Mastered Vegito, you could say. Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?" Enough! Master your untimely fate first, mortal. Prepare yourself! I have waited for this moment, so do not let me down. As Die would instantly then crouch down into an all-new fighting position, his muscles tensed and locked, ready to spring forward at unmatched speed. While the equally prepared God Killer, with his vibrant emerald green seraphim eyes, would just remain composed, just slightly moving his position to ready himself as he would reply, "By all means, come and get it. I'll need a few minutes to get used to this form once again anyway. Try not to die too soon. Die!" And with that said, the Grand Priest would then eagerly rush into the God Killer, hungry for the chance to see just how powerful the legendary completed Vegito truly is. As Vegito would remain in stance, smirking, enjoying the occasion. And on initial impact, the corrupted angel would land immediately on the forearm of the Saiyan, as he raises it to block, and on the angel's face, not an ounce of emotion would be shown, as he would mutter, "Well, I see some improvements have been made at least. I can feel already this will not be as simple as I had imagined." While the grinning Vegito, pleased with this compliment, would reply, "Good, I'm glad. I wouldn't want to disappoint you. Just keep that brave face on when you finally see what I've been hiding." But just this lone collision by itself would cause a wave of devastation to explode everywhere, as their sheer power, even using fractions of their strength, would travel and be felt far and wide. And with nobody left on the battlefield now, there would be no need to worry for what destruction would be caused. Wow! More! Nobody else except, of course, for the acclaimed, all-powerful Omni King, who would absolutely be reveling in the light show and explosions, as his eyes grow wider than ever before in excitement for the final act. The collision eventually leaving the two warriors to then step back for distance, both undamaged and both with a smile, before Vegito would then eventually begin to land, looking up at the sky to the priest and saying, "Come on then, let's take this battle to the ground for once. I'm kind of tired of flying around. You can have a better look at me up close too. That is, if you're not afraid, Mr. Grand Priest." And with an ominous giggle, the one true angel would oblige, landing on the ground before fearlessly walking towards the God Killer. And just like that, the two Goliaths of the multiverse would stand before each other, their eyes locked, and curiously, each maintaining a smile as if they are finally satisfied with their opponent, with the taller Grand Priest looking down and saying, "Well, have I quelled your doubts about being afraid? Tell me, how does it feel to finally not be under the control of my elder brother? To not have to rely on demonic powers not meant for this realm? As I told you, it would make no difference even if you did. The outcome would be the same. But I can only imagine your Saiyan pride must be at its greatest to fight me now as just yourself." To which Vegito would just reply, "To be honest, it makes no difference to me. I did what I had to do to make it here. And regardless of how you justify it with your stories of fallen angels, you are using your elder brother's power just as I once did. You are no different to me, or at least the old me. I have evolved, and that is why I will leave you in the dust. The reign of gods ends here." And with that said, Vegito would then cock back his fist with a beaming smile before... "Powerful mortal." As Dai, smirking back as if the God Killer's smile was infectious, would dodge but comment on the strength he would feel from the wind rushing past his face alone. But on counterattack, with a slashing kick of his own, the Saiyan would duck straight underneath. Before, with his eyes looking up, he would goad. Alright, can we pick this up a bit now? This is all a little too friendly. And with the two still planted on the ground, they would clash fists all across the battlefield floor. Still, with smiles visible until... Finally, two back-to-back blows would land harshly. A fist on the God Killer's face, and a kick under the chin of the father of all angels. And once the scene would zoom out, it would soon become clear and apparent that both strikes actually would have happened simultaneously, with Vegito falling back onto his hand and instantly raising his leg for the counter. But this flailing appendage wouldn't last for too long, before Dai would grab tightly and toss the God Killer straight into the sky. New form, same old mistakes, God Killer. Before Dai would cock back his own fist, but this time he would seemingly not be using it to punch. As suddenly, taking his chance, the angel would fire off a blast of energy that covers Vegito's body entirely. And for the first time, it would seem Vegito would feel some genuine discomfort, before he would then land on the ground and... Tut tut! With a bigger grin than ever before, he would say, I could recognize that energy anywhere. You're already using Lucif's energy, even in this warm-up, huh? Cheater! Before, without warning, Vegito, as if not satisfied with his now slightly charred clothing, would then instantly rip his top off, while saying, much better. Now that I see you're done with the warm-up, it seems, allow me to pick things up. Immediately throwing to the ground his clothes for a surprisingly loud crash and cloud of destruction that follows, as if this new Vegito had been operating with weighted clothing, much like a certain Piccolo. It's time! As with a slight change in his body composition, as if Vegito's body would begin to boil and create so much heat, steam would let off. The God Killer would enter a new fighting stance, his muscles bulked and tense to the limit, as an eager teeth-bearing grin would form on his face. I need to get you back! As in a flash, Vegito would appear directly in front of the priest, with his right arm pulled right across his body, as if about to backhand the divine angel. Swiping his arm for a full swing, sending a torrent of wind along with it, as Dai would skillfully dodge to his right, his seraphim abilities not falling for such a telegraphed attack. And as Dai would swerve away, he would laugh, saying, So this is your idea of picking things up? How curious, since you seem to be even slower than before. Okay, big shot, then I'll just go even further. as Vegito would then speed up forward, visibly before... Too late, God Killer! Before an impatient Grand Priest, not willing to just stand idly by and let the Saiyan have his way, would then unleash yet another point-blank blast, surrounding Vegito's figure instantly once more. What? But it would seem what would be caught in the blast would actually be an after image, and the real Vegito would instead be seen shooting out from the side, untouched and much to the angel's surprise. And with a cocky laugh, the God Killer would comment, "You must really think I'm stupid to think I'd fall for the same attack twice. When I say I'll step up the speed, I mean it!" Just leaving the priest bamboozled as he remains cautious over the fused Saiyan's next move. And he would be right to do so, as Vegito's next move would be to unload a roundhouse kick straight for Dai's head, which he would once again dodge by the skin of his teeth, ultimately leaving the God Killer open for a counter. But what it would be yet to be revealed. And in possibly the most unexpected of attacks, especially from Dai, the angel would launch a devastating punch that actually lands, but on the most sensitive of areas. As with a high-pitched squeal, the feared God Killer would seemingly have the same weakness as all other mortal men, as his pupils would immediately disappear on impact. Sorry, but I honestly expected you to dodge. Where's that speed of yours now, God Killer? You're more than a cheater now! You're foul! As with a comedic shift in tone, Vegito would angrily then step back, grabbing onto his crown jewels, scolding the divine entity. As Dai would just reply, "Oh, come on, Saiyan. What is that saying you have in Universe 7? All's fair in love and war?" Fine, play it that way. As quickly recovering, Vegito would drop down to stretch as Dai would watch on. Don't worry, I can play dirty too, Dai! Before with a dastardly smirk staring back, Vegito would appear confident in his next move, catching the Grand Priest equally off guard. As out of nowhere, the God Killer would suddenly transform into his OG, original Ultra Vegito form, purple and silver hair and all, as lightning spreads all around him. What is he doing? Perplexing the priest as he would stare at what is truly a ghost of the past, wondering why Vegito would seemingly choose to get weaker until... Don't lose your concentration now, Angel! I've got a present for you! As generating instantly in the palm of his hand, a Godslayer scythe would appear courtesy of Vegito and of course, Goku Black. as launching a vicious blade in hand. Like a skilled samurai, Vegito would slice right past the priest as if he had phased through him, shocking the angel in the process. I told you I would surprise you. Tell me, what did I slice up just now? As stopping mere feet behind the one true angel, the God Killer would come to a halt and watch as the body of Dai would curiously just remain frozen still, as if about to drop to his knees, dead in a cliché scene. Die! And in the process, even transform back to his green seraphim completed Vegito form, as if the OG transformation was just merely a visual change. As turning his body fully to look back at Dai, he would then begin. Not going to say anything? Don't tell me I won already. That wouldn't be much. But soon, only shock would be experienced by the God Killer as before his eyes, in a poof of white smoke, the angel would disappear from existence, leaving the God Killer to yell, "Another clone? Damn you!" But as Vegito's annoyance would increase, he wouldn't have long before he would sense more danger on the way. As flying rapidly from the side would be Dai, his elbow already in place to strike unexpectedly. But just as he would get close, a hand would stop the blackened arm of the corrupted angel, and mysteriously, it would definitely not be Vegito's, clawed and white in color, as if just energy. What? You! As Dai, opening his eyes wide, would seemingly recognize the individual instantly and be completely taken aback by who it is. Beerus! As not only would Beerus reappear as Vegito's signature apparition, Belmod and Vados too would also be present, each rushing towards Dai, as Vegito yet again transforms into another form from the past, as he would comment, "Hope you don't mind. I thought this party could use a few more people." Vile creature! Triggering the angel in that instant as he would make preparations to escape. And as Vados and Belmod would come crashing down and create a wave of destruction, the aforementioned escape would prove successful. As skidding across the ground by his hands and feet elsewhere, Dai would reappear. Of all the apparitions to bring out against me, why 3 of the weakest? Surely, you can do better than that, God Killer! GT! But as if the saying, "Be careful what you wish for," had come alive, Dai's questioning of Vegito's tactics would soon be answered, as his very own student, the second strongest angel in the entire multiverse, GT, would then appear right behind him, with the Royal Commander now gripping tightly onto the body of the priest, powered up by his own seraphim energy, leaving Dai to do nothing else but squirm and look deep into the dead eyes of his lost friend. You should really learn to talk less. It will only bring about your downfall. As Vegito, laughing maniacally at the situation, would then lift up his arm, pointing towards the duo and yell, "Now go! Finish this clown!" As instantly, the two gods of destruction and the angel attendant, on command of the god killer, would then fly straight forward towards the vulnerable priest. How ungodly! A mortal using gods like this! But just the sight of the situation alone would now be enough to send Dai over the edge, as with his fury building, a pressure would unleash from every pore of his skin, while veins would begin to bulge. Meanwhile, the energy apparitions would get closer and closer to their target until ultimately... Rest in peace, my fellow gods! Unleashing an almighty power-up, Dai's face itself would stretch longitudinally as his mouth opens to all new heights from his yell alone. And instantly, not only him, but all of the other gods surrounding and behind him would be lost in his power too, each with a shocked face. And the result would be a massive aura of energy now encapsulating Dai, erasing all those around him, including the four gods, causing wind and destruction to flow everywhere. There's that elusive energy again! Eventually affecting even the god killer in the distance, who, annoyed, sensing the power of the devil once more, would grit his teeth before... I guess if you need something done right, it's better to do it yourself! Just as the smoke would rise in the aftermath of Dai's explosive power, without fear, Vegito would jump straight forward. There you are! Eventually getting close enough, the dark silhouette of a figure would finally now be present, and with it only possible to be one god in particular. And of course, Dai would then eventually be seen, unfazed but still covered in veins, as looking at Vegito, unmoving, he would briefly say, "You will pay dearly for such disrespect to the gods, Saiyan! Just you wait and see!" And with perfect technique and speed, as Vegito would come double-fisted, slashing down, the priest would simply slide to his right. What? Are you running away? Before inexplicably, Dai would then just opt to fly straight up, looking behind and simply letting out, "Follow me, mortal. The battle on the ground is over." Within moments, shooting far and high into the sky, leaving Vegito literally in his dust. Who said you get to call the shots? Annoying the god killer briefly, with his green seraphim eyes beginning to glow suspiciously before... Following suit, and with really no other option on the table, Vegito would explode into the sky in chase. Don't go too far now! As mid-flight, would undergo yet another transformation of old. Now with his Super Saiyan 4 inspired demon form, with a tail and all, chasing at full speed towards the angel. His speed is the same, even in these forms. Surprising Dai, within literally nanoseconds, the God Killer would have kept up, despite the older form, signaling once more that these transformations seem to be nothing more than just for show. What? You don't think I can have a little fun while we play Angel? One form is boring! As Vegito, with a crazed smile, would begin pulling back his open-handed left arm until... Instantly, he would fire out his cell tail, given to him ages ago by Dr. Gero himself. But despite the point-blank attempt and sheer speed, in an incredible acrobatic feat, Dai would spin his body mid-air and dodge the tail's path entirely. Not bad! And with his dodge complete, without a moment to spare, the angel would move swiftly in to counter with a punch, while Vegito, who now had changed back to his completed green seraphim form, would struggle to reel back his cell tail in time. But with a quick slap in place, the long appendage would return and ultimately... What? Just in the nick of time to block Dai's punch, as it seems, with his increased speed in this new form, it would apply to everything. Leaving the impact of the block to send both warriors backwards for space. But unbeknownst to Vegito, as he would look in one direction, Dai, with unbelievable speed and lack of presence, would be running right behind the Saiyan before... As with a forceful knee, the corrupted angel would slam right into the stomach of the base-looking Vegito, leaving the God Killer to cough out as he becomes winded. Mine! But Dai's attack would not end there, as quickly remembering how much of Lucif's energy is still there to take within Vegito, he would then grab onto the loose arm of the God Killer, his veins bulging from how clamped the grip would be. What? And before long, with his arm surrounded in aura, absorption would seemingly begin taking place, just like it did with Vegeta. But as this would take place, the two would remain still, an eerie silence as Vegito himself would appear to not struggle or fight back in any way. And soon, something shocking would come to the corrupted angel's realization, as he would comment, "What is this? Nothing is coming out! Where is Lucif's energy?" But with his face now looking sinisterly smug, as if a shadow had descended on him, Vegito would reveal, "That's because unlike you, I'm not using any of Lucif's power right now! But if you're so thirsty, I can give you a taste!" As immediately, Vegito would then transform entirely into his true demon form, A sight we had not seen in countless chapters now, as the true power of Lucif finally begins to surface visibly in the vicious black lightning that would now surround him, leaving Dai stunned as he wonders what trick the God Killer would pull out now in his progression through his forms. What? And what would follow is Vegito immediately powering up a dark ball of pure demonic energy, as Dai below looks on perplexed until... You're not yourself when you're hungry! As Vegito would follow through and toss down his energy attack at full force, right down onto the face of Dai. You fool! Have you forgot my abilities already? As the corrupted angel, who could not look any happier, as if he had just been treated to a feast after days of not eating, would salivate with a massive smile as he just patiently waits for the demonic energy to fall into his vicinity. Mine! All mine! As now, with a raucous gritted face, Dai's forehead diamond, just like before, would begin absorbing all of the demonic energy within the ball. Slowly but surely, the ball of energy before him would then shrink and shrink as a result. And as we see from the side, seep deep into his skull, Dai would then just maniacally shout, I don't know what you're doing, mortal, but keep it up! Maybe you do agree. That power all belongs to me! While Vegito, just confidently sniggering with a smirk, would watch on and just continue, Yes, eat up! You're going to need all you can get. Consider it an appetizer, as I'm about to bring out the main course. As immediately, Vegito would then inexplicably hold out his hand in front with his fingers in a strange position before, with a snap of his fingers, something strange would begin to be felt by the corrupted angel, as the energy ball would begin to light up. As in a violent explosion, the last of the energy ball would explode straight on the face of the priest. It appears Vegito's snap was actually a detonator. You dirty beast! Leaving Dai to now groan in agony as his face continues to smoke away from its harsh singeing. Dirty? You're the one covered in soot, Dai! As quietly, while goading the angel, Vegito would then cautiously grasp onto his right horn. Yeah! Time to end this! As pulling out yet another technique of old, Vegito would pull straight out of his skull a fully fledged demon blade, sharper than ever and ready to slice the occupied angel into pieces. But as Vegito would shoot forward, blade in hand, it wouldn't appear to be in a slicing motion, but instead pinpoint aimed for a very specific spot. And even with his sight completely compromised, the angel would notice the God Killer's approach. But unfortunately, with Vegito's speed, it would be too little too late, as the demon's blade would then pierce straight through the chest of Dai. And not only that, but perfectly through the red glowing diamond on his chest also, sliding through like a knife through water. Almost the entire blade eventually would make its way through. And soon enough, the pain would set in like a house on fire, Dai's eyes bursting wide open from sheer disbelief that he had been wounded so grievously by the Saiyan, muttering, "You? What have you?" Before in a vicious response, the bewildered, corrupted angel would slam his leg straight at Vegito, as if swatting away a fly. "What have you done?" But the extent of this damage would seemingly be huge, as Dai, now angrier than ever before, would become completely overcome, with veins as his blood boils, gripping tightly onto the handle of the blade before he would suddenly shoot far up into the sky, but whether to run away or some other nefarious deed would still yet to be seen. "I have been too lenient, underestimating myself too much," as Dai, now mid-flight, would talk to himself, before when we zoom in on his face, he would grip again onto the blade's handle and continue, "I don't need any more of Lucif's energy. I have enough, along with mine, to finish such a creature. I am done pretending otherwise." As without warning, the corrupted angel would then pull out the demonic blade from his own chest, as his left arm, now previously still an angelic white, would now instantly begin becoming polluted to pure black before... Now, both completed seraphim eyes of Dai would now go red, as he gives in almost completely to the demonic powers of his elder brother. Die! You must die now! Until finally, in the final act of this battle, the Grand Priest, father of all angels, now looking nothing like his past self, would appear high in the sky, a twin of Lucif, with his bulked up body and red and black demonic features. His flowing hair would stand on end, as losing his mind, the once pure divine creature would form a powerful concentrated ball of black energy, more powerful than ever seen before, as almost like a spirit bomb, evil energy from all over would seem to begin seeping directly into it, making it larger and more powerful by the second, as all the while, Dai, with a crazed look, would only say, "Your story ends here! And as the truly frightening and gigantic ball of energy would perpetually release energy, thunder, lightning, wind, pressure, and everything else you could think of in all directions, destroying the very realm of Zenos to nothingness, alone on the ground, Vegito would be watching. Well, looks like this is it, boys. But perhaps just not alone in mind, as with Goku and Vegeta too now eagerly looking on, Goku would comment, "All this time, everything we've done, everything we've seen, I can tell it was all for this moment. His power, it's incredible." While Vegeta would say, "It's incredible, alright, but this isn't a situation we haven't been in before. There's no point looking back now. We're here, and we will do this for everyone." And Vegito, having the last word, would just reply, "You two are the ones who convinced me that we could do this without Lucid, with just our power. So let's prove that right. Let's show these gods one final time why us mortals are not to be looked down upon. Final Kamehameha! As with all three Saiyans now ready to change their destiny, to finish the gods forever, to bring everyone back, Seraphim Goku, Destroyer Seraphim Vegeta, and completed Vegito would each power up their final attacks. Vegeta with his final flash, Goku with his Kamehameha, and the God Killer with his final Kamehameha. Screaming at the top of their lungs, they would input every little bit of energy into themselves until... with a blast to end all blasts, the three Saiyans of legend would submit their final attacks. Die versus Universe 7's greatest. Who wins? Find out on the next exciting episode of UV. But that was it for today's video, guys. And if you made it this far, leave me a hashtag finale in the comments down below. And let me know just what will happen in this final conclusive battle you're seeing in this short preview. Or just find out what happens right now on my Patreon, where you can see the full next video, fully voice acted, soundtracked, and edited for you to enjoy with over 4,500 plus other fans, as well as getting access to 250 plus other fan mangas too. It's the deal of the century.